The fact that Iran was never formally a colony actually matters a lot, because there are very, very few countries in the world, non-Western countries, who survived the age of imperialism without becoming European colonies. While the European countries recognized these states as sovereign, they did not treat them as equals. In fact, if you look at manuals of international law of the 19th century, these 6 countries are called semi-civilized countries. They are not completely quote-unquote civilized, which is what Europeans thought of themselves, nor are they quote-unquote barbarian, like the inhabitants of the colonies. They were semi-civilized, which means that one could deal with them diplomatically without recognizing them as equals. And of course, the best manifestation of this inequality were treaties that were actually called unequal treaties, which were not reciprocal. The best example of these unequal treaties were the so-called capitulations, which granted Europeans immunity from local jurisdiction in these countries without, of course, being reciprocal. In other words, a Russian in Iran was not subject to the Iranian legal system, but an Iranian in Russia was. And so it became the overriding aim of elites in these countries, Iran included, to end the state of affairs. How do you do it? By convincing the Europeans that you're every bit as quote-unquote civilized as they were. One had to reform the legal systems to bring it up to the standards of Europeans. And this was done precisely after the Constitutional Revolution. The end product of this was the solemn abolition of the capitulations in 1928, when Iran declared that it no longer recognized any of these unequal treaties and became a fully sovereign nation. In the meantime, of course, it had joined the League of Nations as a founding member.